Oh yeah, it is. Little technical difficulties out here. Hmm. All right. We were having a little bit of technical difficulties, guys. I don't know what's going on, but if y'all can hit me up in the comments, make sure y'all are able to hear this. Or are we doing something was going on with the software? Drop a comment. Let me know if the sound's okay. Y'all can hear this all right. I think we're good. We're live. We're streaming. There you go. All right. No, we're good. So we got a pretty big show today. An important show for those that care about their tax dollars. That there's a lot of things going on right now. There's a lot of concerns coming from the city of Eagle Pass. Many of you guys know City of Eagle Pass. They're doing a lot of things, right? But what we're having trouble wrapping our head around is why all of a sudden the city of Eagle Pass is continuing to raise fees for services. Now, what I will tell you is that, I'm a big supporter of raising user fees when when it comes that you can avoid raising taxes because there's a big difference between the two. Now, raising user fees is typically something where it only affects the people that are going to use the services, use the facilities, and that's all good and well because you're using it, so you're paying for it, right? And then compared to taxes, where taxes everybody in the jurisdiction has to pay. So there's the difference, right? And today we actually caught part of a podcast that I guess you can call it a podcast that the city's trying to have, and it's good. I'm all for informing the community because I think that that's where Eagle Pass, the area, our community, it really lacks the information that needs to come out to the community. And that goes for a lot of these entities out here. It goes for, the city of Eagle Pass. It goes for especially the school district, which we are going to touch a little bit about. I'm glad you guys are joining us tonight. We got many viewers across all our different social medias, YouTube, X, formerly known Twitter as Twitter, and Facebook, of course, which a lot of the people tend to join us here on Facebook. And the thing is is that it's affecting all these moves that are going on. It affects one, parents, which many of you guys that watch our podcast, y'all are parents just as much as we are, right? Y'all have kids. Y'all need to y'all are in try to be as well informed as you can with what goes on in our school district. And I think that, anybody that follows our page, follows what we put out, our information, you can see what's going on. We have many of those, I don't know what you would call them, protectors or obstructors, or maybe, people on the chiche that are trying to distract everybody from what is actually going on. And that's nothing new. You guys have seen this, from our times as the Rising Texan, from when we did news straight from our personal page, Isaac Ruiz, and then now transitioning, coming into the Maverick Times, where we see an unprecedented amount of residents coming together as a community because things are not being done correctly in our community. And it seems that many of the things that are going on are really affecting us, not just our, kids and their futures, but also in our pockets, right? So what we're going to go ahead and start off with today and touch on is the situation that's going on with the school district. That's what we're going to touch on first, and then we'll segue into the city of Eagle Pass and how the management there, the administration, is hurting you guys, the taxpayers, where it hurts the most, in your pockets. But first, with the school district. So, giving you guys an update. Everybody knows about the recent threats that we've been receiving throughout several elementary schools. We have the Armando Serna, we have the Seguin issue, and everything has kind of been hush hush with the Armando Serna incident. Nobody knows if there's been a student that's been suspended. Nobody knows if there's been anything done about that because there hasn't been anything publicly said. Now, uh, several comments that we've received. We've received a lot of information, guys. There's information out there, and it's difficult sometimes to sort through all that because on our end, of course, we can't just throw stuff out and say this, that, and the other without verifying a lot of these things. And that's where it's difficult to translate this information to you in real time because it's we have to verify. You guys expect us to give you guys the truth. So there's a lot of information out there and we're still sorting through it. One of the most recent updates that we received, and we're still verifying, but apparently there's been something done there at Armando Serna Elementary. Now, the whole story is still coming out. You know how this works with news is, you see something pushed out. We don't know what the whole story is. We just see these things happening as is. We have a threat in Armando Serna. No one knows about it. It's being withheld. Yet we find out about it later on when a 911 call comes in from a parent to the police department, City of Eagle Pass Police Department. And even at that, thank God that the administration there at the City of Eagle Pass Police Department, through Chief Amy Gonzalez, doing the right thing and letting the public know what is happening, because that's not something to be taken lightly anymore. Before, it was a thing where, before the whole shooting with Uvalde that happened in Uvalde, I mean, these kind of threats, we never thought that anything would come from it. But then you have the incident in Uvalde, and that's less than an hour away, guys. That does not, I mean, we're not immune to that happening here in Eagle Pass. That is a very real threat that can happen in our own schools to our kids, our students. Now, again, many of you guys are parents just like I am. And you guys are concerned about the protocols, about the administration, and about what is being done about these threats that continue to happen in our community in these elementary schools. Some comments are coming in. J. David Ortiz, hello, my fellow Maverick Times followers. J. David, thank you for catching our live today. We appreciate it. It's an important one. We're going to go through several different entities and touch on several types of information that you guys need to know about. No one else is giving you these exclusive information. Nobody wants to touch these things. But you guys know us. We are going to touch these things because if you guys don't know about this, who else is going to tell y'all? And that has been the trick here in Eagle Pass, Maverick County for many years. Is this shh, no digas, nobody will know. Pay a few dollars here and there, and it's all hush hush. And we've tried to turn that around to bring you guys the information that's happening, the real stuff, not the fluff. Joey, of course, Joey, you're always welcome on our podcast. He says, hello, here to stir the pot. Guys, you all remember Joey. Joey's been around since our Rising Texan days, man. That's how long Joey's been around stirring this damn pot. And we appreciate Joey stirring the pot because it takes people like Joey to uncover, discover, and, just scratch the surface so we can get out what is really happening in our school, in our city. These are real things that a lot of you guys are wanting to know. And again, this information is not readily available out there for anybody to read, anybody to view. They'll jump on with this pony and donkey show to distract you from what is actually happening. And you guys, again, you guys are the smartest audience out here. You guys are the smartest community out here. There's some other people that watch some other podcasts that they don't even know left from right. But you guys are smart enough to tune in and have these hard discussions. I know not everybody is able to comment on these discussions because retaliation is a real thing here in Eagle Pass, in this community, especially if you work for the school district or the city. They'll retaliate. They'll take your job. They'll take your livelihood. And we understand that. And that's why for those people, we have created this community that is the voice for you guys. And we're always here. You guys have our number, 830-968-0344. If you're worried about being anonymous, anything like that, there's nothing to worry about. You can shoot us a text, give us a call. And we're usually pretty good about addressing everybody's situation that's going on. J. David Ortiz says, Joey Villarreal, ya te la sabes, Joey. Give it a few more minutes. But it takes a few of these people in the community to really make something happen or to get this information out, because it's important to know what is going on. Most of the times, and you guys have found out this from corporate media, the Fox, the CNN, the USA, whatever news is out there, They're out there to spit their narrative. They're out there to spit whoever pays the top dollar to spit their narrative out, to spin a story, and to keep you from knowing the truth. And that's what we're here for, to unpack the truth. Now, the Armando Serna incident. From what we're hearing on the ground from several sources, we are actually jotting down right now because we have to request that information because we know that the superintendent, Samuel Mijares, will not address certain situations publicly. He'll throw on a big old interview. He'll call certain people, chief of police for the EPISD. He'll call on these certain people, make a press conference, have a Q&A where one, media was not allowed to live stream. Media was not allowed to record. Why do you think that the superintendent, Samuel Mijares, requested that there was no recording? Now, there is schools, elementaries, junior highs, high schools, those are public areas. And many of you might think that, hey, since it's a public area, we pay taxes to have that place or that facility, that you are allowed to, walk in with a camera, take pictures, live stream, or do, what you can there. Now, schools do fall under or can fall under the law as presumed privacy, assumed privacy. Now, somebody coming into your home, let's say, you invite me to a carne asada, a party, and I want to live stream. I cannot do that without your permission because that is your household, right? And you can assume that you will be in privacy. That's privacy area. And that's the law, right? I would have to request approval before I would go live stream at your carne asada that you invited to me in your home. Now, that can fall under schools. So you can't just show up at a school with your phone trying to go live streaming without approval. Now, there usually isn't a problem. You see cameras all the time. Kids have awards. Parents take pictures. So it's kind of a slippery slope on that end. But I will say is that everybody or media did have the right to live stream this press conference, Q&A, or whatever you want to call it, that Superintendent Samuel Mijares wanted to have in a publicly funded facility. You guys did have the right to live stream. Now, there was a permission that had to be given. From my understanding, because we weren't there, it was not allowed by the superintendent, Samuel Mijares. I'm sure many of y'all can guess the reason why the superintendent, Samuel Mijares, chose not to allow media to go live. It is what it is. I mean, we're not trying to insinuate anything because there's nothing to insinuate. The facts are all there. If the superintendent, Samuel Mijares, wanted to be transparent, he would have been transparent. Unfortunately, we live in a community, in a time where the leaders that we have are not wanting to be transparent with us. And make no mistake, there's a reason why they don't want to be transparent. Why would somebody want to keep something from the community? Now, let's go back about the timing of this thing. It was from what, 4:30 to 5:30? Most parents work the average working hour, which is the shift, 8 to 5. This was from 4:30 to 5:30. Parents leave their work, wherever you might work. You only have 30 minutes to get there. The traffic at 5 o'clock is bad. You wouldn't be able to make it, I would say maybe 15 minutes. By the time you find the building where they're having the meeting, that's another 5 minutes. So you're getting there with about 10 minutes to spare. And you're just sitting down, barely getting comfortable with the situation that's going on. Now, let me ask you this. If you didn't want to give certain information out or be transparent, what would you do? Make a press conference, make a Q&A when everybody's at work? Now, moving into what happened in that press conference or Q&A, we got Carl Tint Kid, Tint Masters is here watching best tints in town. Sancha and Sancho proof. Guys, hit up Carl Kid for your tint purposes. Anything you need. Now, I think he has some sort of thing that if you're with the Sancha or Sancho in the vehicle with tints that he put on there and you get caught, I think you have some money back guaranteed stuff like that. So he guarantees you will not get caught con el Sancho, con el Sancha with the tints from Tint Masters. They got like some special woo, 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 that the Sanchos will be protected, the Sanchas will be protected. So if you're into that stuff, hit up my boy Carl Kid, Tint Masters. He'll take care of you guys. J. David Ortiz, plan con maña, typical. Yeah, and these people, they have everything mapped out. And what was it that Samuel Mijares, the superintendent for the EPISD, what did he not want to be transparent about? Let me tell you. From what we hear, what happened in that press conference, it was throw Principal Leija from Armando Serna. It was a throw him under the bus fest. Now, if there's anything different that you guys, or if you attended, let us know in the comments. But from what we gathered and from the notes that we were given from the attendees, the sources that we have, it was a throw Principal Leija under the bus type of thing that was going on. Now, as the head of that school that a principal is, right? Principal Leija, he is the one who should take a fall. He is responsible. What they will not tell you, and they have not told you, is that Principal Leija was not even on campus on that day that the threat was found. Yeah, let me repeat that. So we have word that Principal Leija from Armando Serna Elementary he was not even in the building when the letter was found. So he ultimately, again, we're getting word that he has been suspended. And rightfully so. I'm not defending Principal Leija in any means. I think that if you are the CEO that's in charge of an area, a place, in this case, the principal of a school, you are ultimately the person that needs to be held accountable. But that does not mean that there isn't other people that need to be held accountable as well. Principal Leja was not even at the school at the time, which brings me to this comment right here. And Laura Rios, you are asking the correct question. So, who was in charge at the moment? Whenever the principal is not in the school, who's in charge? The assistant principal, the instructional officer. In this case, it was not, I mean, like I said, Principal Leja is still in charge, whether he's in the building or not. But in charge immediately would be someone that is in that campus. Instructional Officer Montes, Vice Principal Montes, however you want to call that position, was the number 2 in command. Without Principal Leja in the building, that would leave the instructional officer, Miss Montes, the person in charge. Now, from what we're hearing, the only person currently facing any kind of discipline from the district is Principal Leja. And, I'm not saying he does not deserve blame. What we're saying is that he does not deserve the sole blame for this situation. It's kind of hard to control your school when you're not present. And, Principal Leja is a human being like any of us. People get sick, people have meetings, people have trainings. He wasn't there at the time. But there is a second in command that should have known how to handle this situation, which gets me into protocols that does the EPISD, Eagle Pass Independent School District, do they even have protocols available? Paco Jr., if he's not at the school, how come they suspended him? That's a good question, Paco. Um, I agree with you to some extent. I do say that he's in charge of that school. And as the person that is, it's just like with the city manager, Homero Valderas. If somebody does something under his charge, whether he's on his vacation, whether he's out of town, like, councilmen have said, he likes to enjoy not being in our city. It's kind of hard to run the city when you're not in the city, right? But you're still ultimately responsible for the actions of your subordinates. That's just the nature of the position. But I do agree with you is that he should not be the only person that is facing any kind of backlash or facing any kind of discipline. There should be multiple people. And the big miss here, again, is this damn school board, because this school board that we currently have refuses to hold the superintendent, Samuel Mijares, accountable for anything that he has ever done. It all goes back to Superintendent Mijares and the school board refusing to hold him accountable for the piss poor job that he has done as superintendent. He has not only been playing politics, he has hurt many educators in our community because of who they choose to vote for, who they choose to support during elections. Retaliation is real in the Eagle Pass Independent School District, and it's unfortunate that none of our school board members have the balls, have the integrity, have the decency to do what is right and hold the superintendent, Samuel Mijares, accountable for his severe lack in communication, in integrity, and to hold his people accountable. We have this fake profile that likes to talk shit. Have you ever tried to interview any of these people you're talking about? Yes, we have. They don't respond. They reject. I would too if I had something to hide. Fake profile. It's just the nature of the beast. When you have something to hide, you're gonna hide. You're not gonna come out publicly, especially with somebody that is gonna ask you the questions that need to be asked. Paco Jr. doesn't feel right that he got suspended with something at work went wrong and you aren't there at work. It's like you got fired because somebody was covering up for your mess up. No, I agree with you. I mean, it's tough. Again, ultimately, now I'm just playing devil's advocate here. But if I was in charge of something, whatever you want to call it, if I was in charge of the school, Armando Serna, and I know everything falls on me, I would make sure that the people under me knew exactly what they needed to do in any situation. Why? Because I know it's going to fall back on me. Now, I'm not saying that Principal Leja didn't deserve a suspension. I think some kind of discipline is merited in the situation. But I also think that the person that was in charge at the time, which is Instructional Officer Montes, I think she needs to be held accountable as well. Along with Superintendent Samuel Mijares, that continues to disrupt, obstruct, and miscommunicate with us, the parents, the same parents that pay his salary. That is what that's my view on it. That is the difficulty I'm having, is that why is the school board not doing something about Samuel Mijares, the superintendent? And this is one thing after another. It's not just this, it's not just that. It's one thing after another that continues to happen. Now, have you guys heard any information about what happened to the student at Armando Serna? No, you haven't heard anything publicly. But a Southside school like Juan Seguin, immediately they announced that he was going to be charged with something, that they were going to take care of something. Now, it makes it kind of sound like they're covering something up at Armando Serna Elementary. What could it be that they're covering up over there? Why are they covering up something in Armando Serna Elementary? Could it be that the threat was done by a child that their parent is a school board member, it wouldn't be the first time that a threat was covered up because the student that made the threat is a child of a school board member. ¿Por qué le tienen tanto miedo, J. David Ortiz? Well, J. David Ortiz, a lot of what's going on here is that I, I don't think it's that they're afraid of Superintendent Samuel Mijares. I think they're afraid to lose their jobs. And I can totally understand that, especially if you're an educator. There's only one school district in our community. So let's say if this guy does, get rid of you, or what I've heard is that he'll switch you to a situation that is a little bit difficult for you, hoping that you'll just resign. And that's the traditional thing that I've seen that everybody does here is, hey, I don't want to look bad in firing somebody straight off the bat. So what we'll do is get them, move them from a comfortable situation. And this is, it could be anybody that's 20 years in their position, 15 years in their position, 15, 20 years in one school. They've helped so many people at so many students at that school. And then they'll move them to somewhere where they have to commute across town. They have to wake up a little bit earlier. Things are not as comfortable for them as they were before. And how does that situation usually pan out? They'll end up resigning, they'll end up retiring, or they'll get just so much pressure to where they'll end up getting either resigning or retiring because it's just too much for them to handle being under a microscope. And I've been in that situation, so I can totally relate and resonate with some of these people that fear for their income. Let's not make any mistakes about it. The school district is one of the largest employers, if not the largest employer, in Eagle Pass, Maverick County, and in our region. Our region around Demet, Zavala County, Valverde County, the EPISD, Eagle Pass Independent School District, is one of the largest employers in our region. So imagine losing your job in the Eagle Pass Independent School District, and what are you left with? Having to commute to another town, having to unroot your family. Imagine if you have kids, to go to another town. And then in our region, we're probably the highest paying entity, or on average, compared to Demet, Zavala County, Carrizo Springs, Crystal City. Del Rio is pretty comparable with us. I think they pay a little bit better because they tend to appreciate employees more in Del Rio, from my experience. But I say that because I understand what these people, or what these individuals, these educators, have to go through. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's not that they don't want to stand up for what is going on. It's just that it's difficult when you rely on an income. You know, uh, it's easier to look away at situations to make sure that your kids are okay. And I can relate with that. I can 100% relate with that. And that is the difficulty that many of our viewers are going through. And that's why we take it upon ourselves to be the voice that they cannot have. That's why we support our educators 100%, because we know exactly what they're going through. We know it's not easy what they have to go through, but we're here fighting for our educators because ultimately our educators in the classroom are what molds your kids, what molds my kids, what molds all of our kids in the community to become the future. Paco says, I don't think it works like that. Principals don't directly hire the vice principals or officers. They get assigned to the school. The person that is responsible for training bid the superintendent. Um, I agree with you to some extent, Paco. The only thing that I will say is that I think that the principals at the schools are responsible for letting anybody under them know what is expected. Yeah, I think that you're right. I think the superintendent can assign an IO under any principal. The only thing is that principal is still responsible for that IO carrying out what they need to carry out. And that's the thing that is hard in this situation. They're still responsible. I mean, even if you get appointed as something from the governing board, or in this case, the superintendent, yeah, the superintendent can put anybody anywhere and deem it, what is it, in the best interest of the Eagle Pass Independent School District, and he can kind of escape with that. So he can move people around as he wishes. But either way, the principal is still responsible for their instructional officer. In this case, Principal Leja is still responsible for his instructional officer to know what to do in case of a situation, to know how to react in case of an incident. And three, almost most important, know how and when to communicate certain situations with parents, with the superintendent, and with students. And that is really where the ball was dropped here. Because how does a threatening letter with something referred to as a hit list, a kill list, naming educators, naming other students, how does that not get reported? How does that not get situated, not get handled immediately? I would even argue that many of us would not even know what happened had not a parent, one brave parent, they called it in to the Eagle Pass Police Department. And then again, we can't praise enough the actions from our police chief, Amy Gonzalez, that did the right thing. She did the right thing to inform all the community of what was happening. Because, I mean, it kind of seems that the Eagle Pass Independent School District was not going to tell us what happened. That's the way it seems, guys. How convenient was it that they did not release any information from Armando Serna Elementary until after the press release from the City of Eagle Pass Police Department? These are not coincidences. These are things that happen in consequence to other things happening, cause and effect. It wasn't just like, oh, wow, this happened because, no, it's not that. Oh, what a coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence, guys. There's no such thing as coincidence. This thing may have not even gone reported had the chief of police, Amy Gonzalez, not taking it into her own initiative to inform the community of what was happening. And then you had the blatant disrespect from the superintendent, Samuel Mijares, to our chief of police, Amy Gonzalez. And then the poor explanation he tried to give afterwards. Now, if you're being paid over $300,000 as a superintendent, and you can't remember somebody's name, somebody as prominent as our chief of police, Amy Gonzalez, the first female police chief in the history of the city of Eagle Pass, and you're a superintendent and you can't remember her name, a over $300,000 paid annually superintendent cannot remember the first ever female police chief, Amy Gonzalez's name. Do you deserve to be the superintendent? These are questions our community needs to start asking. These are questions our community needs to start seeking answers for. Because we are paying a lot of money of your tax dollars for the school board to be fumbling the ball like they are. We got Joey Noosa. Red flags, yeah, red flags all over. And we're just getting started with the school district. We still have to dip into the city of Eagle Pass. Thank you for your comment, Joe. J. David Ortiz, sue for retaliation and undue hardship since it's illegal. It is so many educators against one person. That's pure laziness at this point. Well, I wouldn't call it laziness, actually. You can't sue for retaliation. That's the thing. Is that to be able, the burden of proof to sue for any type of retaliatory things, it's difficult to do. Now, you have, through our research previously, we had a counselor, I believe, that attempted to apply for a counseling position. She was treated very poorly by the administration. This is in Eagle Pass High School. Now, this lady was done very wrong. There was sexual advances. There was, hey, you need to do these type of sexual favors to receive this type of position at the EPISD school district. And this lady, who's educated, left because she was not given the opportunity, because she said no to the sexual advances. There's a lawsuit right now in the Del Rio Western District Federal Court against the Eagle Pass Independent School District for exactly that. So it's difficult. It's difficult. Now, I understand Jay David saying sue for retaliation. That stuff takes money. Many of us out here, educators, public workers, public service workers, I mean, a lot of these people live check to check. They don't have the extra funds to go against court or go hire an attorney to sue the school district. What Superintendent Samuel Mijares has to his advantage is that he has top dollar attorneys that will defend the school district and any action that he does. I can tell you because I know. I've requested many times different documents, and then they have the attorneys contact me directly, come up with legal mumbo jumbo to avoid giving me information that is public, that is going to be used to educate, inform, and produce news for our community. Because everything that is going down at the school district isn't what the school district is telling us. Now, from my understanding, from the information that we have researched and we have been told, is that there is many protocols in place for situations um, that may arise. Those protocols are not thorough. They're not practiced, and they're not bulletproof solid, right? They're not bulletproof. There are some protocols that weren't followed in the Armando Serna elementary incident, and there's still a big cloud of doubt of what actually happened. So we're still discovering, inquiring about the situation because everything has been hush, hush. No digas nada, tú no digas nada, don't say nothing. And everybody is worried, scared, and afraid. That's just how it is. It's difficult for some of these people to stand up and do something. Again, they're worried about their paychecks. And I can understand because very rare. It's very rare that anybody goes against their employer. It's it, and who can blame you for that? They're the one. I mean, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. I understand that. But there is people that are willing to stand up. And it's you, the parents, you, the watchers of this podcast, of our news, that want to do something for our community, that want real change to be done in our community. We have a comment here from Oscar de la Garza. You might be aware that the proper procedure is to call 1-800-252-5400 abuse hotline, and the Department of Family Protective Services conducts school investigations to determine if proper protocol was followed in an alleged threat and if the personnel is at fault. This is a state investigation, not subject to local politics. A special investigator is assigned. Thank you for that information. I don't know if that's the correct information. I don't have a chance to verify. But in our last podcast, we showed everybody how to submit a complaint to TEA. I'm not sure about the abuse or the Department of Family Protective Services, but as far as school districts go and education, the people you need to call is the Texas Education Agency. Those are the ones that can actually conduct investigations. Those are the ones that can actually go in and do something about situations that are happening in our school district. So we showed you, if you want to check out episode 0057, we actually go step by step on how you can submit a complaint to the entity there's people that will do something about this situation. And the people that will do something about this situation are the ones that are designated in our state to do something about it. And that is the Texas Education Agency. So, Oscar, I'm not saying that what the information you're giving us is wrong. I don't have time right now at this moment to verify what you're telling us, but I appreciate you helping us out with some information that might be a route you can go to. But I do default to the Texas Education Agency. They are the ones who can do something, who can investigate. In San Antonio, I believe it was South San. They went into that school, they removed the principal, they removed the school board because of similar situations that the Eagle Pass Independent School District is going through. And I would actually default for that and go and call them again. Episode 0057 of the Maverick Times podcast, we actually go step by step and submit a complaint on our behalf. That way, the everybody watching us knows how step by step to submit a complaint. And it's a long process, you know, and it gets a little boring and redundant, but it's important because if you guys are not the voice of your own children, who's going to speak up for your children? You are the parents. You are the ones that should be defending your kids and students when it comes to situation like these. Um, yeah, okay. So Oscar saying is it's not popping out here. There you go. See, we in turn report our finding to the TEA. So if you want to contact directly the way Oscar de la Garza is saying to the abuse hotline and the Texas Department of Protective Services, you can do it that route, or you can go directly to TEA and report something directly to them. And I encourage you guys, look, our school board, to be honest, is not doing anything about the situation with our superintendent, Samuel Mijares. Let's just throw out the big white elephant in the room. Our school board is not going to do anything about Superintendent Samuel Mijares. Why? Because they have something invested currently in the school district, whether it be with their own kids, whether it be with money, whether it be with favor. I don't know. I can't tell you. We are researching right now to see what interest each of the school board members have as far as vendors to the school district. And that's for an article and a podcast for a later date. But we are currently looking into that. It takes a little bit of time, not too long, but we are looking into that because it's important, especially after a law came down from the state saying that you cannot serve on a school board if you are a vendor rendering services to that school board, to that school district that you're a school board member of. So again, guys, this is the reason we have the community we have. This is the reason why we do what we do here at the Maverick Times podcast. And I thank Mr. Oscar de la Garza, who's giving us another way to report things. Guys, and you don't have to do it my way. You don't have to do it Oscar's way. Whatever is more convenient for you as parents to these students. If you're having any issues, there's many different avenues that you can take. But what is important to take away from this podcast is that you and only you, as the parents to these students, are the voice. You are the voice of these students, of your children. Don't let their voices be drowned out or muted. There's a lot of things going on in our school district that need to get fixed. And I'll be the first one there to tell you we have ran many stories from the independent school district here in Eagle Pass that is just we can't imagine what the hell is going on over there. We've asked the superintendent Samuel Mijares to be a guest in our podcast, and he says he doesn't have time, and that's fine. I mean, it's not, nobody is forced to come on to the podcast, right? But we do encourage you guys, especially those political figures, which, don't get me wrong, whether Superintendent Mijares tells you differently, he is treating his position in a political manner by all the political retaliation that he has done, because people have been switched and transferred from their positions as a form of retaliation. And what gets used as the excuse is it's deemed in the best interest of the Eagle Pass ISD. One thing I will say is the school board members should be ashamed, should be embarrassed, and flat out, each and every one of them should fucking resign for having the person that they have currently as the superintendent. How many times can you drop the ball before the Eagle Pass school board, Eagle Pass ISD school board does what is right? And these are the people we vote for. That's what makes everything that much more difficult. More recently, everybody voted in, outstanding numbers to support school board member Coach Tom Gonzalez. And I've talked to many of y'all here in the comments, and all of us are disappointed about the 180 that the old ball coach Tom Gonzalez pulled on us. I'll be the first one to say I voted for Coach Tom Gonzalez. And I'll be the first one to stand up and say I disagree with my coach, Tom Gonzalez, and how it seems that he sold out to the old political machine that Superintendent Samuel Mijares has created at the Eagle Pass Independent School District. If we continue to not hold accountable Samuel Mijares, the Eagle Pass Independent School District Superintendent, our students will continue to suffer the fate that they have been suffering these past 3-4 years. Our school rating has gone down. The schools aren't the same anymore. Many people think that, certain schools are over here. I'll give you one good example. A lot of people think that the Eagle Pass Junior High School on the north side is a good school. But I can tell you, all I hear is about fights, about the personnel there recording sexual activities with other personnel there and showing other personnel there those videos. The Eagle Pass Junior High School has gone to shit. The best junior high right now is Memorial Junior High. There's fights in both schools, but the personnel that they continue to hire at the Eagle Pass Junior High School, because of the principals there, the assistant principals there, The personnel that they continue to hire at that school is subpar. And the only people, the only individuals that are suffering are the students and their parents. How do you employ employees that, again, record sexual acts with other employees there in the school? And then they show amongst each other those videos. Then you wonder why your students are doing stupid ass shit. What are they supposed to learn when the teachers, when the principals, when other employees of that school are less than kosher individuals themselves? It's tough. And I know. I mean, it's who would have thought? Everybody always says how Memorial Junior High is so ghetto, and the South Side schools are lesser than the North Side schools. And I'm here to tell you differently. From what we're hearing at the ground level from our inside sources that work at these schools, Eagle Pass Junior High School, I wouldn't send your kids there. Again, from the administration of the junior high, from the educators at that junior high, from the personnel that they hire at that junior high, thanks to who? Superintendent Samuel Mijares, and the political agenda that he continues to push behind certain political candidates. And I don't even have to say names. You guys know who I'm talking about. You guys know exactly who we are talking about. And it's unfortunate. Again, the only people who get hurt in this situation are the students. And those are the ones that are the most vulnerable in this situation. Good question from Joey. Joey, let's find that out right now. Let me see, guys. Let's look it up. I like that y'all are asking questions because that's the best thing you guys can do is ask questions. We can look it up real quick and find out who is who and what is what. Let's see here. Administration and staff. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Let's go ahead and share this with y'all. That way you guys know we're being transparent, unlike our superintendent Samuel Mijares. Let's share our screen with y'all here. Okay. So there you go. We're at the actual website for the Eagle Pass Junior High School. Nice pictures of everybody that works at that school. Now, Joey asked, who's the principal of that school? It says Campus Behavior Coordinator, Miss Yolanda P. Ramon, principal. That's funny. Do you guys know who is the son-in-law of Yolanda Ramon? None other than city manager Homero Valderas. Now, many of you people remember that Miss Ramon was a former city council member. She was accused previously by former council member Monica Cruz of nepotism. Why? Because she had a nephew and she had her son in law, now city manager Homero Valderas, working at the city of Eagle Pass. That same Homero Valderas that whenever Miss Ramon hit her expiration date on her council term, all of a sudden, Monica Cruz, the former councilwoman, was like this with Homero Valderas. Isn't that interesting? Assistant Principal Gloria Cortez. Interesting. Assistant Principal Mr. David Even. Dean of Instruction Jessica Castañeda. Instructional Officer Dr. Hector Leija. So you're telling me you have a doctor that is an instructional officer, yet you have principals that, I don't know, are not doctors? What's the reasoning with that? That's very interesting. So, um, geez, I don't know what else to say, man. So the principal is Yolanda Ramon. We know that there is ties between the principal Yolanda Ramon and the city of Eagle Pass through Homero Valderas, that is now currently the city manager of the city of Eagle Pass. And we know that Yolanda Ramon, the former councilwoman, principal of EPJH, Eagle Pass, EPJH, yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think about that situation? Let us know in the comments, because that's an interesting perspective. That's an interesting thing. That's hmm. And I'll tell you firsthand, from everything that we hear about more complaints about the Eagle Pass Junior High School than we do hear about Memorial Junior High School. Girls getting jumped by several girls at the Eagle Pass Junior High School, and not just an isolated incident, but it's happened more than once. What I would ask Miss Ramon, Miss Cortez, Mr. Even, Mr. Castañeda, Mr. Leija, what the fuck is going on in y'all's school? Why can we not protect our students? Why can't we not keep our students safe, at least in the school? Because no one is blaming you guys for stuff that happens outside of the school. But if you guys, as the administration, cannot keep our children safe, why should we keep continuing sending you our students? Now, we know all this has to do with a political agenda, a political machine, la política. Why is it that, Miss Ramon is a principal and you have her nephew, I'm sorry, not her nephew, her son in law as the city manager? And we're going to get to the city right now in a little bit and briefly touch on that. But what the hell is going on here? Now, we know Miss Ramon from back in our city days, and that, like I said, there was a whole controversy there. She was the city councilwoman. She had her son-in-law working there. That should have been nepotism. She had her nephew working there. That should have been nepotism. And then she left, but not after what all of us were tricked with former councilwoman Monica Cruz that she was against the corruption. She wasn't going to stand for corruption. And then she just turned around and did a whole 360 and joined that same corruption that she said she was against. And then all of a sudden, you have so many people applying for a city manager position. Then how did former Councilwoman Ramon's son-in-law get the job? And that same son-in-law, Homero Valderas, is the one that continues to raise the trash rates, the bridge rates, and most recently trying to raise the drainage rates, costing our citizens, our residents of the city of Eagle Pass, thousands of dollars, of not hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay for these extra added fees that he has been recommending to the city of Eagle Pass City Council. That's not something that you're going to hear from anybody else. Now, in all fairness, we do know Miss Ramon, and we're being as fair as possible to her with just the facts that we know. Miss Cortez, I don't think we know her personally. Mr. David Even, again, I don't think we know him personally. Uh, Miss Jessica Castañeda, Dean of Instruction, we don't. Dr. Hector Leija, Instructional Officer, we do. We grew up with Mr. Leija. He's our age. As far as I know, with him, he's a very decent guy. Very decent. Um, a great supporter of kids in sports. Played baseball back in our day together. I remember that. Uh, Great guy as far as I can remember. Um, don't know what his role is exactly. I know he's an instructional officer. We don't know what his role, but I can tell you as far as when political stuff comes out, I have never heard his name mentioned, which I can only think that he's not involved in the politica of everything. And, I appreciate that, uh, Hector Leija. Um, and he's a doctor. So probably a doctorate of education. So what makes me wonder is that why are those other principals ahead of him in the pecking order? I mean, we typically see around the state of Texas that superintendents are doctors in education. And I'm assuming, of course, Hector Leija is a doctor of education. Why would he have these other people ahead of him? I mean, I can only speculate, but it wouldn't be the truth. Politica aquí, I mean, everybody knows how the politica is. Now, would it be that far of a stretch to say Yolanda might be in the same politica with Samuel Mijares, and that's why Homero Valderas is doing what he's doing at the city? Could be. Could very well be. But, just from what I know, and I haven't talked to him that much since probably a little bit out of high school, I'd like to advocate myself or sign myself up to support Dr. Hector Leija to give him a chance to run our schools and see if he can kind of clean up the mess that other principals out here are causing. He's a doctor. He's well educated. Again, that's a name that I didn't even know he was a instructional officer at the high school. I mean, I know he was with the school district, but I didn't even know. And usually, if I don't know you, that's probably a good thing. Or I don't know your name, that's probably a good thing. And again, Full disclosure, I know him growing up. We played baseball together. He was pretty fast on the base paths. Um, but he's a doctor, he's an instructional officer. Um, I don't hear him in the politica out there that this person, that person. I've never heard his name having to do anything with politics. And that's something that I like. That's something that I can appreciate. That's something that I respect. That's something that shows a person can get their job without having to dabble in the politics. I can't say that for everybody that's on here. I can't say that for everybody that's on here. But I think it was important for you guys to see and know who the administration is of that high school, of the junior high, because from what we're hearing at the ground level, this junior high is not, back then EPJ, I went to EPJ when I was in junior high, and we always thought that we were better than the Memorial junior high, but that is just not the case at this moment in time. And that comes from parents, that comes from teachers that are in there, and most of the time, some of these people that we're criticizing here, they probably don't even have control over who gets hired there at that school. And that's what's disappointing as well, is that Samuel Mijares waves that magic wand of his that the Eagle Pass Independent School District School Board gave him, and he does whatever the fuck he wants in the best interest of the school district. Switching themes over. I know you've heard me with the city of Eagle Pass. It's time to move over to that. We'll touch a little bit. It's been a nice long podcast already. But the city of Eagle Pass, guys, once again, the city of Eagle Pass, with its leader, the son-in-law of Principal Ramon of the Eagle Pass Junior High, su yerno, that is in charge of the city of Eagle Pass as the city manager, is once again raising rates for services. What services is he raising now? Well, let's start at the beginning. First, Homero Valderas came in at the height of the 57 South fiasco. That was a fucking shit show. We all know that. And I don't know, has the current city council done anything about the 57 South fiasco? Not much. Not much. But what has been done by the recommendation of city administration meaning city manager Homero Valderas, you have had during his tenure seen your trash rates go up, the bridge rates being proposed to be raised, and the latest one that is going to be in their next meeting, your drainage fees that is included with your water bill. They are currently at $5, the drainage fee, and now it's going to go up to $10 on your water bill because of drainage fees. Now, let me ask you this. When was the last time that you have seen the city of Eagle Pass do anything towards drainage? Don't worry, I'll wait. Anybody remember? I sure don't. And that's that I follow these types of things. The last drainage thing I can remember is them hiring a company that couldn't even finish the job at Misty Willow and Bibb, leaving a whole mess that cost the city $100,000s of dollars for a contractor that was not competent enough to finish the construction job that he was hired to do. That drainage ended up costing them a hell of a lot more than what it was originally proposed. And let me tell you, who had to go wipe their ass after that contractor could not perform the duties that he was expected to? The City of Eagle Pass Public Works Department. At that time, the public works supervisor was Jesse Sandoval. He's retired since. Shout out to Jesse Sandoval. He was our boss back in public works. We appreciate him. We love him. Thank you for everything he taught us. But he had to go out there with his crew to finish the construction job of this drainage on Bibb and Misty Willow next to the Eagle Pass Junior High School. That was a fuck up. They couldn't complete the job. They didn't have enough money to buy the parts. They bought wrong parts. I don't know what the hell it was. But it was a big old mess. And many of y'all that live there know it was a big old fucking mess. It's ridiculous. So why is the city of Eagle Pass increasing drainage fees? What I would want to ask is, have those drainage fees been used for the proper reasons? So when an ordinance is made, now I'm talking about a drainage fee ordinance, a trash ordinance, establishing any kind of fee within that ordinance, there should be some language stating, okay, we're going to collect this drainage fee. The fees that we collect for this drainage fee will only be used to support drainage activities, whether it be, excavating a new canal, engineering plans for a new canal, or maybe a master plan on drainage, a drainage study. In other words, anything having to do with drainage, though that fee can be used for that. What I would ask the city of Eagle Pass is that what this drainage funds have been used for? And why are we increasing those drainage fees from $5 to $10? It seems the only thing city manager Homero Valderas, it seems like the only thing city manager Homero Valderas has done since taking the city manager job is hurt the taxpayers, hurt the city of Eagle Pass residents in their wallets. Increase in trash rates, increase in the bridge from $4 to $6. That's a $2 increase. Increase our drainage fees from $5 to $10. This has been under. Now, I know we have a new council now that recently went in. Ultimately, they're the ones that do approve. But who gets recommended these things? Who makes these recommendations? It's the city manager. He recommended the trash rate be picked up, and it did. He's recommending the bridge at the suggestion of former bridge director David Salcedo, which he paid $40,000, over $40,000 in a severance pay for a poor employee, as we have found out, because he was written up and there was a complaint submitted about David Salcedo, the former bridge director, from an engineering firm. Why? It seems to me, and this is just my opinion, is that our tax dollars are being poorly invested, poorly spent. And those are your hard earned tax dollars. That's money that you guys work for. That's money that you guys cannot give to your kids because you have to pay those taxes. Now, paying taxes is not the worst thing, but your tax dollars being abused and misused, that is the worst thing. I don't mind paying taxes if you're doing something right with them. I don't mind paying taxes if we see what we're getting in return: new streets, new facilities. But a $43,000 severance pay, do you think that those are your tax dollars being used wisely? What can we expect now that the trash rates, the bridge rates, the drainage fee rates are going higher and higher and higher? Let's go to the comments. Joey, no, they won't do anything. Wonder who the promoter was related to. We've heard that, Joey. Unfortunately, there's no like record that we can request to see if they were related to somebody, but we've heard that there's a relation. We've heard a lot of things about the former administration. They weren't who we thought they were. This ain't Colts Jim Irsay saying, or who was that coach, that famous coach? We they are who we thought they were. We are who they were, who they thought we were. Right? What did he say? They were who we thought they were. These people were not who we thought they were. And unfortunately, Pueblo Chico, Infierno Grande, you are hitting the nail on the head, Joey, with that one. We wonder who that promoter was related to. And we're wondering if they got away with $2.3 million of our hard earned tax dollars through this scheme of what was called 57 South Music Festival. Because that's what it was. It was a fraud, it was a scheme, and they cost the city of Eagle Pass taxpayers, residents, citizens, whatever you want to call it, they cost your hard-earned tax dollars. Much like the current administration is costing you now. Paco Jr., before the bridge toll raise, he had raised it as a bridge manager and he had to remove the express card discount. Look at that. Now, Eagle Pass is a community that is predominantly low to moderate income. That is in any website, Google's your friend, bruh. Go ahead and search it. I know, because this is what I deal with whenever I work on my stuff. I have to prove a lot of the times that, like, hey, we're a low income community, low to moderate income community. And that's, why we're able to get state, federal funds down to our area. When I worked with the city of Eagle Pass, that was the thing that we kind of used to get a lot of the funding that we do. And the city of Eagle Pass is still kind of the same, where we are a low to moderate income community. We have an elderly population that's large. We also have a majority of our population. We're not rich. We work for a living, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm one of y'all. Um, but they continue to hurt us. And when I say they, I mean anybody that's a city resident, anybody that's a city taxpayer, we're getting hurt. We're getting hurt in our pockets. Um, you know, what's most disappointing about the situation is that these people are still increasing fees, even though food is expensive right now. The salaries don't match the increase of cost of living. Our salaries just don't match that. The average teacher doesn't make enough to make it on her own, and let alone if they have kids, how the hell do they make it? Nowadays, you can't even have a single income in a home because you are not going to make it. You are going to struggle. You're going to have a difficult time. And I'm talking about the average person, everyday people like me and you. This is the current community we live in. And yet they continue to raise the trash pickup rates, the bridge crossing rates, which a lot of us take advantage of going over to Mexico, to Piedras Negras, because of the benefit that doctors are a little bit cheaper over there. If we go get haircuts over there because it's cheaper over there. We go get food. We go get services, piñatas, balloons. You name it. Los dulces in la dulceria. We go and I have a big family, so I have an incredible savings compared to coming to a restaurant here locally than going over there to Piedras Negras. But now it evens it out when you have to pay the outrageous bridge rates that our current city manager is proposing to our city council. Joey says, how much money of this is going to worker salaries? Pay to play contracts with backdoor money. There could be. I can tell you this is that our city employees are poorly paid. Yet we have a city manager that's getting paid triple that of the hardest working employees that we have. Do y'all think that's fair? Now, they just hired another assistant city manager. Why? Why are we hiring a second assistant city manager when we have one? The one who was interim during the 57 fiasco. I really don't know how he's still employed, being that the city of Eagle Pass 57 South Music Festival fiasco happened while he was the interim. You see the play here? Yet they want to convince you they need a second assistant city manager. And that's why they're raising the rates on the bridge. That's why they're raising the rates in the trash pickup. That's why they're raising your drainage fees to continue to poorly spend, to misuse, to abuse your hard earned tax dollars. It's ridiculous, folks. When I was with the city of Eagle Pass, there was one person that received over $100,000 in salary, and that was the city manager. Right now, you have multiple employees outside of the city manager that is receiving over $100,000. That is unheard of for any public entity here locally in Eagle Pass, Maverick County. Ridiculous. And it's going to continue to happen. I'm sorry to say, is that unless we come together and we do something to hold accountable our governing bodies, they're going to continue to misuse, abuse, and hurt the taxpayer, me and you. That's what they're doing. So you have the 57 South fiasco that happened. And what is the city of Eagle Pass doing to cover that up? Let's raise the rates on the trash pickup. Let's raise the rates on the crossings. Let's raise the rates on the drainage fees. Hurt the residents for the incompetent management of the city of Eagle Pass. That is what's happening. Why does this happen? Because they continue to hire incompetent administrators that have political ties. These hires, guys, it's not by merit. They're not hiring them because they're well educated. They're not hiring them because they're well experienced. They're hiring them because of political favors. Let me ask you this. When have you ever seen on a CEO's contract, on a city manager's contract, written that if that city manager, if the city council doesn't want that city manager anymore, that they could move them back to assistant city manager or back to a department director? What? The next step after the CEO, if he fucks up, he's supposed to be out. And that is exactly the wool that's being put in your eyes, the wool that's being covered, the veil that's being placed over your faces. This is what they're doing, guys. They're covering up your eyes so you do not see what the city of Eagle Pass is actually doing to your money. They just paid over $43,000 to a former bridge director that one had complaints about him from outside representatives, a bridge director that was written up by the city manager that hired him because he was not doing his duties as assigned. Yet, turning around, that same city manager pays out that former bridge director over 43,000 of your hard-earned tax dollars for what? When this employee was a poor employee. Calderon just said that the average household income in Eagle Pass is 50,000. That's the mom and daddy combined salary in a city. I think it's a little bit more, Paco, than that. If you want, let's check it out. We can check this out real easy, guys. This is what I do on a daily basis. I can show you exactly the city data and where we're at as far as that goes. Thank you, Paco, for bringing that up. Because this is some things that we all need to know. It's not, just some people need to know or anything like that. This is important stuff. So there's the city of Eagle Pass. We want to know what the income range is. It says the median household income in Eagle Pass in 2023, Paco, you were right. Mr. Calderon was right, is 54,583, the average, which was 38.8% less than the median annual. Median is in the middle of 75,000 of the entire state of Texas. So look at how much we're behind from the state of Texas as Eagle Pass. Well, that's not the typical one we look at. We usually go with the Census Bureau. Whoa. So we got hit with one of those. Thanks to the government shutdown, we're not allowed to see that, or that's going to take a while. But yeah, I mean, look, as far as 2023 data, the average median household income is at 54,000. Median is in the middle, guys. So that's the median, not the average. We have a poverty rate of 21.5%. So, what does that mean? It means that yes, we are a low income community. A lot of us are not going to be able to afford the costs that are coming up right now. It's incredible to think that why these costs are coming up. Do the administration at the city see the demographic that we have? A lot of us, me and you, we live check to check. We pay our bills. There's a little bit left over for the kids, but we got to wait until that other check comes to finish paying the rest of our bills. Now, with what's going on with these rates that continue to go high under this administration, where are we going next? What are they going to raise next? Are they going to charge us to go take our kids to the playground? Are they going to raise the water rates? These are things that we need to be thinking about because it hurts us as taxpayers. Joey says, how about the big money waste of downtown Eagle Pass going? Looks like a big money maker. Again, Joey usually hits the nail on the head. We were big advocates against the downtown business incubator, again, because these funds were secured back in 2020 at the height of COVID, when we think the city of Eagle Pass should have assisted the businesses that were hurting instead of getting all that money for themselves to build a business incubator that is not ready until right now, 2024, 2025, 4 years later after COVID, after all these businesses had already died, after all these people were already out of jobs. That same funding mechanism that the city of Eagle Pass applied for could have helped your business, could have helped you keep you in your home. It could have helped you start a new business because maybe you didn't want to take the vaccines that the school district wanted you to take. Yet the city of Eagle Pass thought, hey, it's a better idea for us to get the grant funding, start this incubator that was ready until 4 years later. And until now, it's a benefit to the community. And even at that, you have the former economic development director, Arturo Marquez, trying to help the people that already have the money to get in there. One of which that is trying to announce that he wants to run for commissioner precinct 4. It's ridiculous. If you have the money, you have the money. That's good. Like, a toda madre way. The people that need help, like those places at the business incubator, are the people without the money, without the businesses at the time. Now, this person is being pushed by some other news media saying, like, hey, let's go for him. They're considering running for commissioner, precinct 4. But do they have your best interest at heart or their own interest at heart? That's what a lot of people, especially news medias down here, want to throw you this, that, and the other, but they don't tell you the truth. And like, nothing against anybody, man. I like that business is business. If you're doing good, you're doing good. Shit, I'm proud of y'all. But the fact of the matter is it's the truth. Arturo Marquez did a lot of crooked shit when he was the economic development director, and he liked to help people with money. La gente con feria. Nothing against those people. Hey, shit, you have your money, you made your money. Be proud of that money. But that's not me and you. That me and you, we need the help. We need a business incubator office. We need a little help to start our businesses. We don't have these businesses going on. And now they want to make it seem like, yeah, let's go for this position. What are the real intentions? What is the truth behind it? Now, let me tell you this. If a person was willing to do something when they are not an elected official, you're willing to circumvent other citizens that actually need the help. You're willing to cut a deal with this guy, a sketchy guy, Arturo Marquez, who was the economic development director that catered to the people that had money. I mean, I don't know what he was getting. If he was getting a kickback, I don't know. If he was getting political favor, I don't know. Si andaba agarrando culito, I mean, I don't know what he was getting paid or being given to help out these people with money. We don't know. We do know is that as soon as there was heat and when shit hit the fan, Marquez was gone. See ya. But it wasn't before he did so much damage to our community. And again, nothing against any of those people or nothing, but it's the truth. Marquez was trying to help the people that just announced that they were considering to run for commissioner, precinct 4. He was trying to help them, saying that they were a new business, even though they were not a new business. Trying to help them get a office or restaurant space down there at the business incubator when at a discounted rate. Hasta eso, way, a discounted rate, under market value. Now, you tell me, who does that help more? People with money or people that don't have money? Now, we don't have anybody against anybody. We just want what is right for our community. Guys that have followed us since the times of our Rising Texan days, that's what we want. What's right for our community? What's just for our community? Now, do you think a person that was willing to picarte los ojos when they weren't an elected official, do you think that they would care que te pican los ojos when they are an elected official? Don't worry, I'll wait. J. David Ortiz, where are those 50K jobs? There's a few. It isn't a lot. I would check in. The school district has a few. Again, the city of Eagle Pass, like we mentioned, there's an unprecedented amount of people making over $100,000. Um, I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. What I'm saying is that people do not work in the public sector to get rich. You don't. You work in the public sector because you like to do good for your community. Now, uh, I'll take my perfect example. I work for the public sector. I don't make a killing. I think I should get paid a hell of a lot more for the production that I do, but I like what I do. The satisfaction I get is not from money. The satisfaction I get is from seeing y'all's kids, my kids, enjoy the infrastructure that we're able to get, the programs that help out your families, the security, the law enforcement, the extra tools, the extra officers, investigators that benefit our community. And I think that that's where a lot of people get it wrong working with the public sector, is that it is not to benefit yourself. It should be a selfless commitment to benefit others. And that's just not the case many times here in our community when we have people wanting to run for office that are doing it to benefit themselves, that are doing it to secure themselves. And don't get me wrong, when they benefit themselves, they're hurting you. There's only a finite amount of money. With the monopoly that they attempt to do, they take from you, the real taxpayers, the taxpayers that struggle to pay their taxes, not the ones that can pay en un chingazo porque tienen la feria, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of our economy. And I always say, don't hate people that have money. Don't hate people that know how to make money. I think that we should look at them, see what they do, and replicate what they do, because we will not be able to make an impact until we all get together and learn what they do and how they make their money and attempt to replicate that to get at the level that they are at. Once we do that, then we even that playing field. Until then, right now we're at a disadvantage. We're at a disadvantage. And it's disappointing that people still will support that. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about our community. They don't. What they do care about is what they'll get in return if they help that person get into office. What they do care about is the money. What they do care about is nobody telling them what to do and them doing everything that they want. That's just the reality that we're living in right now, guys. Our city of Eagle Pass administration, the city hall, that not everything is fucked up, but there's a lot of shit that's fucked up. Our school district, same thing. Not everything is fucked up. There is some very good people, guys. that want to see your kids and my kids succeed. But there's also some that just want to see their kids succeed. There's also some that can give a shit about your kids. And that's the difficulty that we live in right now. Yeah, Joey, 100% right on that statement. That's where you find the top dollar amounts. That's not a bad proposition. Paco Jr. says, I believe nobody working for the city, county, school district should make more than $80,000 salary. I mean, I would go a little bit higher, Paco, because the cost of living is crazy. But you don't get in public service to get rich. You don't. Um, you do it because you want to. Like again, uh, back when I worked with the city, when I was a grant administrator, I made a little over $6 million for our community in projects, programs, infrastructure. I didn't get paid because I didn't get paid a million or millions or hundreds of thousands because of the money that I brought in. I was paid a salary. My salary, I think, with the city was somewhere in the high 50s compared to the millions of dollars that I was bringing in for our community. The projects that I was working on. Many of you guys have kids that go to the Cruz Munoz gymnasium. I secured $800,000 for that gym. I project managed that gym. Many of you have seen videos where I'm coming out presenting the construction that's going on in the background behind me. Now, I didn't do that because I was getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. I did it because I knew one day my children were going to play in that gym. And that was more important to me than any amount of money. And it's weird and self-fulfilling prophecy there that right now my kids play in that gym. All of my kids have played in that gym. Their volleyball, their basketball. And that satisfaction of going to a gym that you helped build, that you secured funding for, that's more than any $1 million could be worth to me. And that's just the type of person I am. That's the type of person you guys can count on. And again, it's not for anything that I got paid all this money to do that. I was getting paid a little over, in the high 50s. It was like 55, 56, 57 at the most. I had to go to Del Rio because city of Del Rio offered me more money for what I was doing here. And at the time, I had a family and I had a family to support. Still do. But that's what I'm trying to get at is that nowadays it seems that people are trying to get rich off of our public entities, trying to manipulate the system so they can have more dollars in their pocket. And make no mistake, they're taking it from your wallet, your pocket, and putting it into their wallet and their pocket. They don't care about the everyday person like me and you. They care about securing their legacy, their children, and their funds. It's ridiculous. Guys, we're going to have some articles coming out very soon. We're going to be highlighting the situation at the city of Eagle Pass, putting it in writing in an article, letting you guys know about all the fees that are coming out, the fees that they continue to raise on you guys. And those fees are being raised because of the recommendation of the current administration of the city of Eagle Pass that continues to misuse, abuse of your tax dollars. Not even that, they continue to raise the rates of your trash, of your bridge crossings, and now are proposing to raise the drainage fees. When is it going to stop? Again, this has been done and has only been seen ever since the city manager Homero Valderas, the son-in-law to principal of Eagle Pass Junior High, Yolanda Ramon, her son-in-law, the city manager Homero Valderas, that was hired as soon as she left. What a coincidence is that, right? Not even getting the fact of the connection that the city manager Homero Valderas has with the finance director, Mr. Felix, what was it, Castillo? Is that right? That were involved in the hiring of David Salcedo, the former bridge director that was paid off with $43,000 in severance pay for being a poor employee. We have that proof. We've already shown you his write-up. We're going to show you the complaint in an article probably tomorrow over the weekend, so you guys have that. And you guys need to, I mean, I don't like to tell y'all what to do. Of course, you can hear what we have to say and then make your own determination about it, and that's how we usually like to have it. I mean, we're not here to make your minds up. We're here to let you know the facts. You guys are smart enough to determine what you need to do in action to the facts that we present. And that's why you guys are the smartest audience out there to any other media that's here. You guys are the smartest community, and that's why we appreciate you guys, and we thank you for following us here on our podcast and our news with the Maverick Times News, with our Eagle Pass, Texas news. Soon, we're going to be doing an expansion to our other regions around. So stay tuned for that. If you are interested in working with the Maverick Times in our expansion of the region to distribute the truth around the community and the region, email us at the Maverick Times News at Gmail or Isaac Ruiz at the MaverickTimesNews.com. Send us your resume. We are looking for intern writers at the moment. We are looking for investigative reporters. We're not into the fluff, even though sometimes, we give you fluff, but we are hard-hitting investigative news reporters, journalists, whatever, having fun, whatever you want to call us. It don't matter. We've been called worse. But we are here to shed a light to the darkness that has been the city of Eagle Pass for many years. We are the light. We are here to shine the light into the darkness that has been given to you guys. We thank you for following us. We thank you for watching this podcast. Do me a favor, please like this post, like this podcast. If you can, share the podcast for us. That really helps us a lot in the Facebook logarithm. That way we can be seen by many others. It really helps us a lot, guys. So we appreciate every time you guys share us. We go and we like all the shares that y'all give us. It helps us out to distribute the truth. That's what we deal with. That's what we work with. That's what we want to deliver to you guys, is the truth of the situation that is happening here, the issues in the city of Eagle Pass, the issues at the Eagle Pass Independent School District. We are the investigative and only investigative news reporting group here locally. We appreciate you guys. I'm Isaac Ruiz. This was the Maverick Times Podcast, episode number 58. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy your Friday, and we appreciate you joining us. Good night. Until next time, be sure to hit the little bell so you guys get a notification. Every time we go live, you guys get notified. Thank you, community. We love y'all. We'll see y'all later.